Hi, I'm Dianna Hendricks from United People Power. Thank you for allowing me to share the Power Site story with you in the shorter version. So we're going to put 20 years in as few minutes as possible. This is my wild and crazy business card where you can see my little boy with lollipop. And what Essante Worldwide has done for me is allowed me to have a lot more fun in network marketing. Not just promoting health products, which are wonderful, but sometimes when you're out there promoting greens and reds and vitamins and minerals and lotions and notions, when you're doing that, it can be a little invasive to some people. So I have a lot of fun, make a lot of friends, and I am so thankful for these sweet little lollipops to introduce the business. Now I wish that I had a pill that I could have you swallow that would be like a chip, a computer chip, where you would have been with me, you would know what happened, you would have all my feelings, my passions. But we can't do that. So we actually have to share the story verbally. But if anybody can find that chip, please let me know. This is my humble beginnings, Upper Michigan. Not the Lower Michigan where the mitten is, where the population is. I'm talking about Upper Michigan. Very few people up there. Let's take a look at this. It's the land of porcupines and skunks and deer hunting. Yes, that little guy you see up in the woods with his orange outfit on is a deer hunter. So I come from an area that is very unpopulated and, as some people would say, kind of a little backwards, but good people. And lots of good people got into my lives back then. And let's show you what happened. Never underestimate the power of a phone call, people. This is not me, but here's a little girl in her orange dress taking care of a baby. I was a mom. I was home. I had 3 young children to raise, and I got this call out of the blue from a registered nurse, and I knew her. I graduated with her sister, and she was ranting and raving about a Canadian health product that she had found, that she had used. She was talking about health results for herself, her family, her mother, her father, her sisters, brothers, aunts, uncles, and she wanted me to go to an area meeting and learn more. Well, first I thought she was nuts, but then again, being a registered nurse, I trusted her. So I went to the very first meetings, and they were small because we were a small community, but she was doing a marvelous job. This is one of my funny stories I wanted to share with you on this video. We had a gentleman that walked into a big boy restaurant, and he was really not getting along very well. Elderly gentleman with his walker, and he made it to the table and sat down, and he purchased some bottles from her. And then it was a month or so later that he came back to one of the meetings, because I was attending them and listening and paying attention. And no walker, guys. He didn't have it with him. He was feeling marvelous, and oh, was he happy and ready to tell everybody. But the thing is his little wife pulled me over in the corner and said, "Hey, does this product make you frisky?" And I giggled, and I didn't want to laugh like hysterically in front of her, but I said, "Well, if he feels good and he doesn't hurt anymore, maybe he's a little interested in you." And she said, "That's the last thing that I ever wanted to happen. He was leaving me alone." The only advice I could give her is, "Honey, I think you need to drink a little bit of those plants yourself." I've got plenty more warm, fuzzy, fun stories that I'll share when I get on the road with United People Power. Here's something I needed to do, folks. I heard all her stories, but I needed to get my own guinea pigs. And I told people when I called them, I was very social, I need to guinea pig some of my friends and people on a product and see how they do. I'm telling you, the results were miraculous. From my aunt in Nebraska to my mother who was out in Washington State or Oregon at the time, everybody that I put on this beautiful health product, which was plants, was feeling wonderful. And they all wanted more and more. So things began for me. All I had to do was introduce people, get them on the product, and miraculous things were happening. Now let's take a look at bigger meetings. I started going down to Green Bay, Wisconsin to the people that were doing it there, and then there would be hundreds of people in a room. Talk about building passion for a product. Hundreds of testimonies. You keep hearing them, and you're so excited for these people. What a wonderful thing to be involved in. And I want to tell you folks, when I got involved in that particular company, it was $3,000 worth of product that a person had to buy to have a good business in that company. I sold out all the nurse's product and her sister's product, and they had a lot of it. before I decided to buy my own. Because $3,000 on a credit card back then was definitely deadly if you didn't get it out off the card. However, the day that all that product showed up on my doorstep, I had it all sold, every bit of it, because all the people that I had tried on the product wanted more and more and more. Now, I had this big-hearted passion for what I was doing, but I noticed something. 20 years ago, the medical doctors didn't know much about health and wellness and the immune systems and plants, and they were a little confused. So we had some negative little devils in the picture. I didn't understand it. To me, if people are feeling wonderful, then you put them all on the product, right? And a lot of you know what I'm talking about. However, we had a couple of doctors, and like I said, it's changing, but the doctors actually threatened the nurse at the VA hospital. If she kept on spreading tidings of great joy, she was fired. And that, to me, was probably some of the lowest blows we felt. I didn't want you to have that rejection factor, and that's why things were happening in my head. I felt everybody should know about health products, and I couldn't stand the negativity. Now, here's the way I feel. If I'm in a restaurant, and there's people sitting there complaining, "How are you, Susie?" "Terrible, I gotta go see the doctor." "And Betsy, how are you?" "Oh, I'm worse. My whole family's got problems." I don't want to hear that. Here's what I love to see. People taking positive action. Why not? And folks, we're not curing anything. Nobody cures anything. You either get healthy or you don't. And that's all there is to it. And plants, the human body and plants get along together. And the human body's got the ability to heal. Of course it does. Now something happened. It was the birth of the internet. Oh boy, was I excited. Now we can really play, everybody. We can connect to each other. So I want to show you an older photograph. This was my downstairs basement. I had the whole thing office where I was promoting my very first company that I started. That company had all kinds of magazines that it published every month. And these magazines had NFL football players and doctors, smart ones, and nurses, and people, all over in these magazines. So I had taken them, ripped them out of the magazines, laminated, and surrounded myself with all of this. And we had even built a website for that company, scanning and uploading those testimonies. It was beautiful. But then I had a bigger idea. I was thinking, who's going to come in my downstairs basement office? Let's get this all on the internet, but not only just one website. I had an idea to buy more, to give me a reason to get out of Upper Michigan. I looked at the size of New York and San Francisco and Hawaii and all these places thinking, everybody wants products there too, so it's time to grow. So the first idea was, I wanted a website for Hawaii. Who doesn't want to go to Hawaii? So I was thinking health.com, hawaiihealth.com, and I researched a few others and they were gone. Then I looked at energy. Some weren't available, but on a whim, I type in hawaiipower.com. It's available, and so are a lot more. Now, mind you, I was only going to buy about 50 websites. Let's see, 437 later, as of today, I got a little carried away. But you know what? The power belongs in the health and wellness industry, period. Amen. Now, I called the girl that was doing development for me, and she says, "What? Power.com? They're going to think you're a power company." And I said, well, we are a power company. It's plants, it's power, and it's empowering people. Folks, I didn't have much money. I grabbed that credit card and thought I better take a leap of faith. If I don't buy some of these websites right now, they're going to be long gone. Somebody's going to buy them, either use them or sit on them. So I was buying 20, then 30, then 50. And I didn't just get the states and cities. Then I started to get professions and sports and everything in power.com. And there are more videos in the Media Vault about this, so please enjoy them. Now, I already knew I could help thousands of people in Michigan and Wisconsin. So why not do it here? But I would have a reason to call people. Take a look at these people. Nurses, doctors, teachers, cops, New Yorkers, San Francisco people, Englanders, all kinds of people. But I wanted rejection-free marketing. I would have a reason, websites that I could put their faces on. Not just one, anybody can do that. I wanted marketing. Now let's talk about the move. I decided to move to Las Vegas, Nevada, where it was bigger. I could do more. My mother was in Boulder City by Hoover Dam, 10 miles out. You know, the dam nobody And the people thought nobody could build. Well, it got built. And there's other things going to be built that people think maybe can't be built either. Of course. Now, here's the big culture shock. Driving in Las Vegas, getting around in Las Vegas, but I made myself do it. And during this time in Las Vegas, there were many companies, not a lot, 5 or 6 that I tried. The juice wars were hitting, and I was trying to find a home for the power sites, the reason to be able to use these. Not very successfully. Okay, but not successfully for years. Then, again, answer the phone, guys. There was another phone call. This phone call was from a marketing professor from Frankfurt, Germany, who found me. He called me out of the blue and said, "May I have permission to speak to Dianna Hendricks?" And I said, "I am Dianna Hendricks. What can I do for you?" He said, "Here's what I want to tell you. My colleagues showed me your websites. And I teach marketing at a university level. I'd like to write a book about you when you're successful." But he said, "You know something? Never in the history of marketing any product known to mankind ever has anybody targeted all markets at the same time, ever." And I went, "Whoop." Here, I was just trying to get rejection free. He said, "Here's the thing. You're promoting a product that is kind of like, and I say this lovingly, a snake oil, a liquid, and you can't claim children can drink it, really. So you need to find what it is. And here we go, the pieces of the puzzle. What is it that can make things happen as this marketing professor says can happen?" And in the late summer of 2010, I was searching online and found Essante Worldwide. There was a marketing match with the Power Pops and Power.com. Then I looked at fundraising for kids and all the possibilities and the weight loss. And Essante had so many other products that were so necessary for people, for their health. And I said, perfect. That's it. And by the way, I've spoke to the marketing professor again, who is now in Canada, and he said, it's perfect. Couldn't get it any better. Now, folks, I didn't expect the recession. Not at all. So we need to do what we're doing with United People Power to help people in a secure way, to build business, rejection-free, city to city, country to country, to really help people. And you know something? About this financial stuff, there's been times when my mother has looked at me and said, "You know, you, with the money you have spent on these power sites," and I'm telling you guys, I came to Vegas without money. I worked extra jobs to afford them, to keep them, to hang on to them. There's no silver spoon in my mouth, and there never has been. I wanted this. I worked hard for it, but I knew someday it would come to be what it should be. And here's my mom's comments. "You could have bought a house for the amount of money you have wasted," she thought I wasted it, "on these websites." And now I look at that and I go, how's that working for everybody? Because even if I could have afforded a house for $400,000, right now it'd be worth about $130 or $50. So all the money I would have put in would have been wasted in the first place, but we have gotten the appraisal back on the Power.com websites at over $1 million in internet real estate for marketing. Let's have fun. Let's use it. It was worth the work. I don't want you to feel the rejection factor. That's why I did it. Now, I want you to know something. I am a she-bear with cubs, and we're going back to Upper Michigan right now. Take a look at her. I've got your backside covered. I got your tail covered. I've got everything covered. I've had 10 years to work on this, so I've done my best. The media vault is full of videos. The websites are designed so they will help you to let them do the heavy lifting. And all you have to do is make a decision. Do you want to join? Do you want to help? And definitely look at what it is this is before you make this decision. Again, I wish I had that pill you could swallow, because if you knew, if you only knew how much was behind this, you'd be in here like yesterday. Thank you so much for listening to the short version of the Power Site story. Please get back to the wonderful person who sent you here.